broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hey, everybody.
Hey.
Well, it's 2 o'clock and all is well. We got some stuff today, but first I want to show you something.
Nice camera.
Yeah, can everybody see that?
Yeah, it looks like your Christmas decoration.
It's not Christmas decorations. I want to show this to you because most of you have met my daughter Taylor. A few of you have not. But for those of you who have, this is a Christmas present that she got from her friend Sean Jones, who's got Down syndrome. And the reaction of the parents was, we opened the present, we looked inside, and we saw this. And Sean bought this with his own money. This is a fuzzy, in case you haven't been able to tell, this is a fuzzy green sweater. You can see the fuzz balls? That's a fox on it. So what does a fox say? We opened it up, we looked at it, and we exchanged glances between the two of us. It was like, what in the world are we going to do with this? And she absolutely loves it. She wears it all the time. So there you go. How was your Christmas?
I didn't get a present as cool as that.
I didn't get a sequined fox.
You can't walk around singing, what does a fox say? Nothing like that. Anyway. So I hope you all had a great break. It was a fantastic year, and I'm sure it was fantastic up there. And I think that probably people are still asleep until after the weekend. As a matter of fact, I've got my pajamas on. It's a long story, but I'm still wearing my pajama bottoms. Come Monday, it's on. It's officially on, and we should be back to work. And there you go. So we have an item that we want to discuss. It's security training, and some of you have been through this before. Some of you, maybe this is the first time. But I'm going to toss to Steve because Steve's got this security training. And let me see if I can attendees. Rachel, I noticed Rachel is in. So Steve, I've given you controls. I'm going to try to bring Rachel in out of the dark here. Rachel's over. There we go.
Well, I have the dubious pleasure of doing this nastiness, which we have to do by law, which is HIPAA. We have to train everybody. And I thought, as I went through our WellSteps ISP, which most of you should be familiar with if you're not already, the WellSteps ISP is our internet security document. And that document is a beast. I wanted to show you a couple of quick things in that document so you can see what I'm referring to. But I just went through there and found out if I were a WellSteps employee wanting to keep compliant with HIPAA, but also not wanting to be super bored by all of this technical crap, what would I want to get out of this? What would I want to see? So Troy and Paul and Brian and I meet every single month. And we update this thing over and over and over again, and we review and review and review. It's a shared doc. I wanted to show you one thing that Troy added that you might find helpful in here. And in the very first chapter of this thing's 47 pages long, Troy added all of the applicable federal guidelines and rules for wellness. So there's the EEOC requirements for wellness and the Americans with Disabilities Act and COBRA and ERISA and GINA, and HIPAA notification and non-discrimination, and they're all here. And he just kind of summarized each one of them. We've actually had some lawyers from some potential clients come back to us and say, what are you doing about this and about this and about this and about this? Some of your clients might ask, what do we do, for example, about rules for taxes on rewards? Here's a great big section. Troy's written this. It's pretty spot on. But if you want, this is just an added piece in here. You might get asked about some of these things. Troy's going to fire this off to you, or I will, but it's a nice little addition to our document. I went through chapters 1 through 7, and I summarized it for everybody. And we're just going to take just a minute to go through a few things. What are your responsibilities as employees to do this? And you've got a couple of responsibilities. One, you got to make sure that your computer doesn't have a virus. And if it does, you contact us. Us meaning me or Troy or Brian. And if you think you've had a breach in security, meaning you've got a data set that you got that wasn't encrypted, or you thought it was and it's not, or you think maybe something might have been stolen, or you have some indication from yourself or a client that maybe there's some hanky-panky going on. Maybe you've had a cell phone stolen or lost, or a computer. Maybe you think your passwords might have been exposed. Maybe you're not sure if it's a breach or not. You have to contact us. Technically, by law, you have to contact us if you think there's something going on. Better safe than sorry. So if your computer is lost, if it's stolen, if your mobile phone's lost or stolen, other things going on, just call us. We'll go through a list of things we have to make sure that we're not any problems. And just to refresh your memory on passwords to keep them protected, you see this big ugly password? Well, that's not actually it, but that's the right length for the password on our server. So the username's pretty easy. It's root. Way to go, everybody. You know our username for our server, but that's the password. And we keep them like this for a lot of reasons. Anytime we want to hide financial data, core business data, like our entire company sits on a server. Everything we've ever programmed, every piece of code is protected on a server. Any of our competitors, or pretty much anybody, could steal that code and say, we now have a wellness program, and we'd be pretty powerless to stop them. So we protect it with really good passwords. Any important data that needs to be protected whatsoever. So in WellSteps, we use this, but let me tell you how I do it in the Steve Aldana world. I use a password like that for my bank account. I use it obviously on the server. Any websites that I have access to, any of my personal financial or vital personal information, my Vanguard account, which is my retirement account, has a massive password on it. And then Amazon. And you're thinking, Amazon, well, that's not super dangerous. Why would you have a massive password for Amazon? And there's actually really, really good reason. I use my Amazon account to open up Amazon S3, which is a cloud-based storage system. And every single night, our entire server is backed up internally to our server, but it's also backed up into the cloud, into Amazon S3. Anybody who can get access to that get a copy of every piece of code we've ever written. So I have an Amazon password that is a giant monstrous thing. And these accounts that I've mentioned here, these big ones, bank, Vanguard, Amazon, server, require two-factor authentication. They have to have my cell phone, or they have to be able to email me and contact me for me to get access if I haven't already given them access. So what's the big deal? And how does that have to do with WellSteps as a WellSteps employee? Well, I have to fully admit that the data we have on our server, that includes PHA data, program participation data, some personal health information, should be protected. But on a scale of, holy crap, don't let anybody have access to that, or yeah, you should keep it covered, but again, somebody's blood pressure is not as critical as somebody's social security number. We use two-factor authentication. With WSAdmin, yes, we need to keep it, but we don't do two-factor authentication. And we don't have it quite as tight, but it's still pretty darn tight. So you might be surprised that I use these big, massive passwords for these other things, and we do them with inside for WellSteps. We don't require that level for WSAdmin, but we still want you to follow the basics, 8 characters, add some numbers and letters. And do you have to rotate them every 6 months? We don't rotate them. We don't reuse them, but we don't rotate them just because not quite sure you have to do that. The personal health information you guys know, but HIPAA says this is all the health information that we keep that needs to be protected. Names, addresses, where they live in a geographic location, kind of add, from state to county to whatever. Birth dates, marriage dates, we do keep birth dates. Telephone number, email number, email address. Email address, believe it or not, is personal health information. Their IP address and any biometric ID like weight, height, blood measures. Those are the ones that we keep at WellSteps. Those are the ones that we encrypt. Those are the ones we keep on our server. Those are the ones we require you to be careful with when you transfer data, to only transfer data that is Excel encrypted. So here's the question I always get. How do you keep track of, for example, on the left at the top is a website that we control. There's the login and there's the password on the right. Those aren't the actual ones, but those are the right length. And how do you manage all of those? How do you actually keep track of all of those? Because you're going to have the same problem that I do if you follow these same problems. So the same protocol. So what I do is I actually have a Word document right here. And this Word document is like any Word document at all. I can create a new one. In that document, I can put in here passwords. And I can save it out just like you do in Excel under info, permissions, and I can make this encrypted with a password. So once I do this, I put in the password. You cannot open this document ever again unless you have this password. Now you guys do this with Excel and it works really well. I keep a master document in Word that's password protected, and it sits on my computer. I have to have Microsoft Word to open it, to put in a password to do this, but then there's something else I do with it. I actually take that same document, I go into my Google Drive, and I upload that document into Google Drive. You say, well, it's shared in the cloud. Yes, it is, but as you can see here, it's password protected. So if somebody ever hacked into my Gmail, whatever I wanted to do, they can still get this document. They can't open it because they don't have the password. So with these passwords, I keep them in a Word doc that's encrypted. I store it locally on my computer, and I keep a copy in my Google Drive, password protected, which means, yes, I do have to have one master password for those. And in addition to that, I use a thing called TrueKey, which is a password container. On my computer, it looks like this. It's this little button up here at the top, where every password I have, every account I've ever set up on our server or Amazon or Apple or credit cards, they're all in here and they're encrypted. And the great thing about this particular one is they sit in here encrypted. TrueKey, McAfee, will never see my actual password because they don't have the key that I have to open them up and encrypt it. Only I, the user, can ever see what that actual password is, which I love this because if McAfee ever gets hacked and somebody gets into all these, they still can't see them because they're encrypted. So I keep them in two places. I keep these passwords on a local document, password protected, and I keep it in TrueKey if I need it. So lastly, everybody that works for the company's got to have a virus protection and a firewall on your computer. And if you're using a modern operating system on Mac or anything newer than Windows 8, where you're already password protect or virus protected and a firewall, these are automatic. What's not automatic is making sure that when your computer boots up and you turn it on first thing in the morning, you cannot do anything without entering a password first at startup. I think that is the single most important gateway and protection that I have, is when my computer goes to sleep or at the end of the day when I have to come back and kick it on, I can't do anything without logging in as a user to this computer, so that if it gets stolen, they can still get in, but they're gonna have a hard time to do it. We can go back and clean up things before they have a chance to get into, if you let us know. HIPAA requires us to tell you to make sure you're backing up your stuff. Now you don't have to do that with WellSteps because once it's entered into our system, we're good. but you do need to destroy data, whether it's electronic or paper, that comes to you from a biometric data standpoint. You already know about this. And when you're done, if you use a group like TrueKey, and my TrueKey up here on my browser is open, it stays open until I close my browser or I put a timer on it. You need to close that. And here I showed you my Word document that is encrypted. This thing is here. If I leave, this thing's open to everybody. What I need to do is I just need to make sure I close it out so that at the end of the day, nobody's going to get into and see those, or you can put timers on them and you can have them locked out that way. So essentially, that's some of the information on our HIPAA document chapters 1 through 7 that affect employees on what you really need to do. Nothing's changed. We haven't had anything new here, just kind of some best practices of what we do. Troy, anything you wanted to add to this?
Yeah, go back up to the very top, Steve.
That's the top.
Okay. So Steve mentioned that we have a massive security document and we meet every month. That is tongue-in-cheek, the most delightful meeting that I go to every single month. But it is incredibly important that we have this security meeting. We talk about all kinds of issues that relate to security on our server, on our everywhere, on your machines. And so I know that we have Michelle and Shalish. You guys are relatively new. Maybe you've not sat through one of the security trainings before. There were lots of information that was shared that would pertain to your personal stuff too, like your bank account and your. So is it a good idea for you to have, when you turn on your computer, to have a password? Well, for WellSteps, you got to have that. You got to have it. If you don't have it, you need to have it. And that goes for everybody. For your bank and for the Amazon and every other thing that you use that where you put money, you want to make sure that you have a really, really strong password. And you can use you can generate passwords. If you don't know how to generate passwords, contact Jenny or myself or Steve. We'll generate a password for you and we'll share it with you so that you have a really, really strong password. You'll notice that the passwords Steve showed you, those are all made up. They weren't real. They were made up. And so he's showing you how to do a secure password, how to generate secure passwords. You can generate password and you can change it so you get one that you like. Steve likes them where you have a capital letter on the left and a capital letter on the right. Something
and,
that's
and there's a reason for that as well, because as you know, you're never going to memorize those passwords. I know this is supposed to, here's a hint to help you memorize it. That's never going to happen. But you're going to copy and paste from somewhere. And what I see sometimes is somebody will do a password like this. And sometimes when you copy and paste, you do this, or you end up just grabbing the D and you've missed it. I'd like to make it for those who are visually challenged or maybe not as dexterous as they'd like to be. You put a big fat one on the front, on the back, or whatever, and you can more easily grab that data than if it's just a tiny one like some of the ones that are in here. There's one right there. You're gonna miss that. I'm not even sure what that one is there in the middle, but I put those on the ends to make them easy to copy and paste. You're just going to grab the whole chunk, and that makes them easier to work with and manipulate. You can even do something like this. Troy, I showed Troy that because we've had some before where they were not very clean. Mm-hmm. By putting a big bracket on the end, they're easier just to grab.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know it's your password should be at least 16 characters. So even if on WellSteps admin and you log in as WellSteps user, if you use the password WellSteps, you're fired. I'm kidding, but you shouldn't do that. You should have a password that you have to copy and paste somewhere so that you can remember it. And I think we beat this dead horse enough, Steve. So
I listed on here, if I were to say, I've been doing this for years now, what's the most critical piece for this? Having a password at the front of your computer that you can't get in without entering. That's a big one. And then making sure you log out or you close whatever container you're using to hold your passwords. Shut it down, lock it up when you leave or when you're going somewhere so that if by chance someone does break into your house, grab your computer or your whatever, and it's open, you're screwed. You just let the cat out of the bag. So you got to use the timer that comes with these or do something to close these out, because you can't, it's essentially making it a nice printed copy and leave it on your desk is what you've done. So you got to make sure you close them. I have never had any problems with this process that we're using, nor have I seen a virus in about 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
We used to see them a lot, but anymore, things are really, really tight. And you know, HIPAA gives us these guidelines on how to do these things. And so far, you know, we're looking pretty good. Those of you who don't know, Ed signed a great account here a couple months ago. I'm thinking it was a bank, and they went through our security document in detail. They wanted a very recent copy of some external validation of our process. They wanted a security expert to do a vulnerability assessment of our system, which by HIPAA requirements, we are not required to do. And we follow HIPAA. Because we did not have that, they said, well, we're not going to take you guys. So for that very reason, HR signed off, the wellness coordinator signed off, the CFO signed off, the security team and the lawyers for this company said, we're not using WellSteps because they're out of touch on their security. Even though we follow HIPAA, we actually have hired a guy to do an outside assessment of our vulnerability and do what's called penetration testing of our system so we can have that going forward. But it's pretty serious stuff. And it was a big account. It was a $30,000 a year account, and we lost it because we didn't have the security they wanted. That's the second time in 10 years that we've lost an account by not being as good as they wanted.
Yeah. And as if on cue, I'm going to toss to Jenny, who, by the way, is the first thing out of the gate. She's going to talk about a new password on WellSteps calendars, and it's almost like we correlated all of this, but we didn't. Go ahead, Jenny.
We're just all in sync, huh?
Oh, I was gonna share. I was gonna show you that I also use TrueKey. That's how you can tell it's on right there. And I have a timer. It's set to 24 hours. It will turn this off in 24 hours. So overnight it goes off. So that's all. So Jenny.
Troy, can you toss me the screen?
Yep, I can.
Thank you. And while that is coming through, just for the guides, as a reminder, we do have a whole section of our ops manual that goes over security policies and notes and everything that Steve went over. You can find it in there as well. Isabel does a great job keeping that up to date. So if you ever have questions, this is available to you anytime, all the time, because you guys know just how important this is. So as Troy mentioned, we are going to be updating the password. Now this is only going to be a new password for our WellSteps calendars Gmail account and GoToWebinar, not the sales version. I'll let you guys change that password periodically, but the WellSteps GoToWebinar account. I have not changed these yet, but I will change them after the meeting. I will send it out. This is what the password will be. And this is a semi-decent way to remember what that password is. But I will send that out. So just know if you need to go into GoToWebinar right after the meeting or probably within the next 3 or 4 hours, you might need to use the updated password. Also, we have quite a few updates right now, and they're really, really cool. IT has just been amazing recently getting things done for us. I know they've had a lot of time restraints and a lot of things come up, but we've got some really, really awesome things happening. So the first thing I wanted to show you guys.
Jenny, before you go on that point, I got emails and text messages from Paul all day Christmas Eve, all day Christmas, all day New Year's Eve, all day New Year's. So I just know these guys have killed themselves over the holiday. So.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That is very, very true. So there are a lot of things happening and a lot of things that we have already implemented and things that we will be wrapping up probably within the next week or so. So the first one that we wanted to mention and point out, this actually came directly from a client, but we have a new icon in Rewards. So sales, you'll want to update screenshots. I know you guys use demos most of the time, but it is actually a history page. Now, as everybody knows, you can always use the drop-down menu to see how many points you have earned within a month. However, to facilitate making it a bit easier for the users, we now have the history page, which will show from the start date of rewards to the current date exactly what activities have been checked off and when they have been checked off. As you can see, it will show pending items as well. So you will see that it was checked off on 5/12, but it was a pending item, so I have not gotten the points for it. But this is a very quick snapshot of the entire program year. So just another way to help communicate with the users where they are, what they've done. And then again, of course, they have the drop down where they can see the individual months if they want to get down and drill down that way as well. So this is live, it is in production, and it is available to everybody. It's a great function. I think it's something that a lot of the clients are going to use quite a bit. And then the next item that I'm really excited to talk about is the wellness plan uploader. So pretty much from day 2 of having wellness plan, we have had coordinators requesting a way to upload a form, specifically for the users to be able to upload a form. As guides, we have found a couple different ways to work around this by including it in rewards. However, it does get complicated when they're trying to separate incentives and they don't want to give points and things like that. So we have this new function in Wellness Plan. We'll look at the admin side of it in a minute. But from the user perspective, if an upload is turned on for a specific wellness plan requirement, you will see the upload function here on the right. It works exactly as it does for rewards. The user will click on the upload, they'll find the file from their computer, they can then upload it, and that's all they have to do. From that point, it is on either the guide or the coordinator to approve that. And just like we do in rewards, if it is something that has personal health information on it that the coordinator cannot have access to, then it will be our responsibility as guides to verify that. So let's look at that for a second. There's 2 places really from the admin side of things that we need to be aware of. So just for sales, we're going to do a very high level overview of this in case you get questions or need to demo this. But for the ops team, we will go in depth next week during our ops meeting. So this is the wellness plan configurator. With each of the plan items available, you have the option to turn on or off the upload function. In addition, you have to select if you want the guide only to be able to verify the uploaded forms or the coordinator and the guide. So that's again where we can make sure we are following the laws and protecting the health information of the users. So that's how it's set up. We saw it from the user perspective. Let's look at where to approve these items. We have a new page. It is called, down here in the miscellaneous utilities, Approve Wellness Activities. It's right there by the Wellness Activity Uploader, which is convenient. On this page, again, this works very, very similar to the rewards page where we select our company. We can choose to show guide only or guide and coordinator plan items. You would then view what has been downloaded for the user if it meets the requirements, and they should receive the credit for it. You would check it off, process the activities, and then again from the user perspective, when we refresh this page, you will see that it has been checked off now based on the form that I uploaded. So this is, I think, going to be huge for a lot of our accounts. It is live in production. Everybody can use it. But again, ops team, we will go in depth with some more training next week. But any basic questions from the sales team as far as how you would explain that or what the capabilities are? Okay. So I just wanted to put a little quick plug out there for challenges. We have maybe 5 small items that are still pending before we officially roll out challenges. we've had quite a few of the guides testing. I really appreciate everybody's help with that. We've come across a couple things as far as syncing goes. Those have been addressed. We're waiting for final testing and app updates and things. But hopefully by next week, or at the very latest the following, we will be fully ready to go to integrate this with all of our existing programs. And that's everything from turning it on in company admin to the icon up here at the top, to just allowing the users to participate. Everything start to finish is really looking good. We've got a great game plan. Sales, I will need to set up a meeting with you guys next week so that we can, again, do some in-depth training on this, let you guys know exactly how the challenges will work, specifically bring it on, so that you can, be prepared to demo that. We'll coordinate with Anna and make sure that we get that set up as a revolving item for you guys. So technically you could start showing that now if you wanted, sales, but I felt like having everything tied up in a nice little bow is going to be a better option there. So if you're having a demo and you need an urgent challenge set up, let us know. We are to that point where you could start showing even as a little teaser, and we should be ready to go very quickly. So with that, I know we like to try and keep it at 30 minutes. Troy, are you good with me going over?
Keep going, man. Keep going.
Okay. I'm trying to go without giving anybody whiplash. Okay, so we are ready to talk about the suggestion box. As you guys know, we clear this out pretty much every 6 months. I am still in the process of connecting with some of the guides to and sales to clarify some things, have some follow-up questions. There are many, many tickets that need to be written for some of the smaller suggestions and things. So if you have not heard from me yet, don't panic. There was over 50 submissions this time, which is quite a few, and it just takes some time to go through. So that being said, we are ready to announce some of the top winners. So the first one that we want to kind of give our first place award to is a function for MyTracker, where we've talked about it a little bit in the past, but we will have a need help /FAQ page specifically for MyTracker. So this is an awesome one. I think this is going to be great because it will give users an immediate step that they can take to get help. And then it will also allow them to connect with somebody if they need more help. So this is in the process that has not been fully implemented, but this we felt was the kind of winner, the first place winner, and this will go to Allie. So congrats. I know this is something that a lot of the guides had some input on, but ultimately it kind of boiled down to something that Allie kind of spearheaded there. So if you do win one of these items here, I will email you and let you know, or see where you want your gift cards to, and we'll take care of all that afterwards. So the next item here, anytime we roll out a new product, we're already thinking 2.0. We've already got some great 2.0 items for challenges, and the same thing happened when we created the registration function on our calendar. To copy events and make them repeating on a calendar or on our calendar without having to input them one by one over and over and over again was a great one. We see this specifically with biometric screenings, flu shots, health coaching. There's a lot of different types of activities that would need to have multiple events. So the ability to copy them and just have to change the date on them was a great one. So this is kind of our tied for second/third place. And this goes to, there we go, goes to Mackenzie. So congratulations on that.
Thanks.
And that one has already been implemented. So that one's fully functioning and has been available for quite a few weeks now. So the next item on our list also goes along with the calendar, and this is the ability to close registration for an event. And this is an important one. again, specifically for those classes, flu shots, biometric screenings, where they have a limited amount of time that they need to be able to sign up for an activity. But what this does do is allows the event to stay on the calendar so that they can view it and know that, hey, I signed up for this event in 3 weeks. And it will allow the reminders to still be sent without having people sign up last minute and creating kind of a logistical nightmare that way. So this was another one that was a great suggestion, another 2.0 enhancement to the calendar registration. So as a second and third place tie, this goes to Carly. So congratulations there. And then the last one, typically we do about 2 each time, 2 winners each time, but there were so many great suggestions this time. Troy and I had a bit of a struggle narrowing it down. So we do have one additional one that we wanted to kind of award this time around. And the suggestion was to create a report that will show basically all of the campaigns within a date range or within a program year, and whether or not the user has completed those. And it will give you basically a grand total of the campaigns and challenges that have been completed. So this is one that I know sales, this might seem a little bit odd to you guys, but we actually get the request quite a bit from our accounts where they want to, instead of award individual points throughout the year for individual campaigns, they want to award a overall campaign points if you do 2 out of the 4 or 3 out of the 4, which pretty much means that the guides have to go through and manually create an Excel form showing which ones the users have done, which ones they haven't done, and the total. So this will grab all that information, which we already have in the system, put it on one form, and save us a lot of time, as well as being able to produce those reports pretty quickly for coordinators as well. So this one has not been implemented yet. We will work on this. As I said, there's a lot of tickets to still be written to make these things happen. But this fourth and final prize goes to Amanda. So congratulations on that. Again, thank you so much to everybody that has submitted items. There were so many good ones this time around. It's really hard to narrow it down. Keep adding your suggestions. You know, keep putting it in the hat there. If it's from you or if it's from a coordinator, the more context we have, the better. And we look forward to doing another round here in a couple months in June. And
Very
with
cool.
that, the very last thing I have is the wheel. So, as if you guys haven't heard from me enough right now, I have drawn the short straw. But I came prepared. I've been thinking about this for a while. So first and foremost, if you don't happen to know, I'm pregnant. I'm 32 weeks pregnant today with a little girl. She is due February 21st. So we are really excited about that. I don't think Max has a clue what is coming his way. But needless to say, we are really excited and anxiously awaiting her arrival. So that was one thing I thought of. Randomly, I actually took hula lessons within the past year, which was kind of fun. I will not be doing demonstrations for anybody. You don't want me to, believe me. But it was a lot of fun, and it was outside of my comfort zone. We actually, with the young women at church, we did a little talent show piece. So it was fun to practice and work really hard with them and learn a little bit about where it comes from, and then be able to kind of share that with others. So that was something fun. And then the last thing that I don't think anybody knows about me, I actually used to competitively rock climb, which some of you are probably gasping right now because I am a whopping 4 feet 11 inches. Not exactly the build you would expect when you think about rock climbing, but I did it when I was, it was probably high school, some of the younger high school years before I got into soccer too much. And And we had a great little gym here in our town. It was all indoor. We would do outdoor trips and things. And we actually did competitions in the whole Southeast. It was really fun because people would see me walk in and they would think, look at her, she's so short, she's never going to be able to do anything. But I was actually able to do a lot more than they would probably think I could based on how I was moving my body. I would use footholds as handholds, and I would be able to kind of twist myself up into these places and these different configurations that other people couldn't do. So it was a lot of fun. I had a great time doing it and enjoyed not only the physical exercise I got, but kind of the mental challenge of thinking through it and how I can accomplish, getting from point A to point B, knowing that I was going to have to do it different. So there is that.
All right. So it's next week. It's either Kelsey Kessler or Becca, one of the two.
Yes. I'm kind of wondering if we should just knock them both out, because the following staff meeting would be a little bit anticlimactic.
Yeah, it would give one of them 2 weeks to. So I think we can think about that. But let's decide right before staff meeting starts.
Okay.
All right. Well, with that, I think we're a little bit over time. But Allie, make sure you check your email. I sent you an email during staff meeting. Congratulations to everybody who won based on suggestion box, and we need your suggestions, your ideas. So thank you everybody for participating in the staff meeting today, and we'll catch you in 2 weeks for sure. And thank you so much.
Thanks.